I spent the last few weeks binging the Jujutsu Kaisen manga, just in time to catch up for chapter 236. I won't go into the specifics of why that's important, but if you're caught up with the manga, you know. I'm not typically interested in current manga or anime, aside from Chainsaw Man, but that's a discussion for another time. So for me to read all of JJK as quickly as I did, it's kind of a big deal. And now that I'm caught up, I can say with full confidence that it will easily stay amongst my favorite series. But I didn't always have this opinion of Jujutsu Kaisen. So let's jump back to November 2020. I'm on a trip visiting my best friends, Moogie Mikey and Axel Lazuli, and Moogie bought a new TV. The night we set up the TV, we figured, you know what, we should check out some anime. We flipped through a few different series and then we came across Jujutsu Kaisen, and Mikey and I decided that we should give it a shot because at the time, everybody was going pretty crazy over it. And I went into the viewing with probably the lowest expectations I could hold over it, and I was extremely dismissive. Like, simply put, I was being a dumb hipster asshole. I was pretty quick to compare it to other things, and I was just ready to verbally shit on anything that came on screen. I took a page out of Chihiro's book and viewed that shit with fresh hatred. It was Terminate on sight. I just didn't give a fuck. We watched maybe like the first 2 episodes, and I wasn't really impressed. I just kind of lumped it into the rest of the current overhyped bullshit and moved on. So we're going to jump ahead a few months to February 2021, and at this point I had multiple friends tell me that I should give it another shot, and most notably, my buddy Tendi. He had shown me some clips from the later half of season 1, showed me some of the fights, and he made mention of how bizarre Hanami was, and so at that point I was like, you know what, I think I'm gonna give it another chance. So going into it with a far less critical mind, I rewatched the first few episodes of the anime, and you know what, I actually enjoyed it. But even then, after I had finished the first season, when folks asked me how I felt about it, I described it as like a fun, turn your brain off anime. And after recently catching up with the manga, I was fucking stupid about that. I am actually dumb as fuck. Now, it's been quite some time since the first season of the anime, and at the time of recording, I think we're like in the middle of season 2, maybe near the end of it. And to be totally honest, I wasn't even sure if I was going to watch season 2. So you're probably wondering what pushed me to finally sit down and read the manga. Well, there's a few different things. One of the biggest, and this is kind of fucking embarrassing to say, but it was actually Fortnite. when the Fortnite collab happened, it kind of reminded me how much I enjoyed the anime. The second thing was that I kept getting the third opening and I think the first ending recommended to me on YouTube all the time, and I was watching those endings and listening to the songs, like the full versions or the My First Take performances. I was like, yeah, you know what? Damn. So a little quick edit here. I was actually listening to the second ending. I think it's called Give It Back. And that's not to say that Lost in Paradise isn't good, but the second ending it's a banger. So with both of these influencing me quite a bit, I decided that if I was going to get into the series, I was going straight for the manga. And typically if I have the option to read something, I'm always going to pick that. I had something very similar happen to me when I was getting into Chainsaw Man. I watched like maybe the first 3 episodes of the anime and I decided, you know what, fuck it. If I'm gonna get into this, I'm just gonna read all of part 1 in one go. But with Jujutsu Kaisen, I couldn't exactly drop the money on 20 volumes at once, so I downloaded the Shonen Jump app and started reading from my phone. By the way, what I'm about to say is not an advertisement or anything like that. It's literally just strictly from my personal enjoyment using it, but I am so thankful that we have something like the Jump service now, because being able to read an entire series from my phone or desktop for $2.99 a month is fucking stupid. It's actually fucking insane. Seriously, very small side rant, but modern anime and manga fans have it so fucking easy with how easy it is to consume content now. Like, being able to get chapters and episodes legally without having to go through fucking sketchy sites is crazy, and the fact that we get them the same fucking day as Japan is dumb. We don't have to wait months, years for shit to get localized. It's fucking sick. But anyway, after diving headfirst into the manga, Jujutsu Kaisen really showed me that I was far too quick to judge it, and everything had proven me wrong. It was very much a world I could be invested in if I hadn't been a stuck-up asshole. And I have no problem admitting how wrong I was. I will gladly take this L with pride. You know, sometimes when you're introduced to a piece of media, it could be music, movies, whatever, if you're not really in the right headspace for it, it just might not click. And there's been plenty of other media I've had the same sort of issue with, but I'm typically always thankful that I give things another chance. That being said, I should really clamp down and give One Piece like a 10th try. You know, it's gotta click eventually, man. So many people like it, I gotta find out why. But regardless of my tendencies to be a dumbass contrarian, Jujutsu Kaisen wooed me big time. And the deeper in the story I got, the more I found myself singing its praises. It's got incredible artwork, insane fights, some of the most heart-wrenching twists, and the pitch black tone of the story is crazy, but most importantly, the brutality. God, is it fucking brutal, man. I would say fairly early into Shibuya Incident, shit really gets turned up to 11 and is unapologetically violent, which, as weird as it sounds, is an element I miss from older series. And I know that gore and violence exist in modern series in some capacity, but it's not nearly as present as it used to be. Sometimes you just don't want to see a character get talk no jutsu and go through some fucking stupid ass change of heart. No, sometimes you just want to see a character be a piece of shit and pay the price for it. So what I'm about to say is like mild spoiler territory, but imagine if Gojo had been like, "Hey Toji, I'm really sorry that you're filled with so much rage. It's okay that you killed someone important to me. I know that you can change Tatabayo." And Toji just has some flashback to having some canon event of spilling milk as a child and wishing he had someone to help him clean up with the current Toji crying and yelling some bullshit like, "Sure Gojo, we can be the best of friends. Thank you for taking me to the light." No, that would have been fucking hilariously bad, and if it was like that, I would have not read it anymore. I would have dropped it right there. Shibuya Incident makes it a point to show you how fragile the lives of sorcerers are. Good or evil, no one is safe, and no one is above getting the fatal up top chicken box, and I love it. It's really hard for me to be invested in a series that doesn't feel like it has real consequences. If a character can just come back at the drop of a hat, like what's the fucking point? And this fragility sucked me in big time, because it made me appreciate the time characters are on page much, much more. And speaking of appreciating characters on page, Jujutsu Kaisen has some of the best villains, past and present. Sukuna doesn't give a fuck. He is a Category 5 bone harvester. Kenjaku runs at the level of being such a hater that it spans generational bloodlines. Toji is such a fucking bastard that he's basically just a normal ass dude who's just so angry that he can clean up shop on the highest grade of sorcerers. Dude just says, "Hey, I might not have my own curses, but let me consume curses like rolls at Golden Corral and I'll fuck your day up." On top of all the villains being vile pieces of shit, they have some of the best designs. Jogo with his goofy-ass volcano head, or Hanami with their devilish tree branch eyes, or maybe even something as simple as Geto's scar or Mahito's patchwork. This is an instance where less is definitely more. And now for one of my favorite parts of Jujutsu Kaisen, the concept of curses. Curses interest the fuck out of me. It's negative human emotion meets trauma manifested into beings or abilities. And you add the idea of domains to buff them on top of that, and shit can get out of control real quick. I'm gonna be super simple here, but even after catching up with the manga, my favorite domain has to be Malevolent Shrine. Every time I see that pop into a panel, my jaw still drops. It just looks like some insane death metal album cover that's bound to deliver the most soul-shattering slams of all time. Other than drooling over Malevolent Shrine's design, I was really impressed with some of the later character abilities, such as Kinji Hakuri's Idle Death Gamble or Higuruma's Judge Man. Both of the fights that those are featured in feel like JoJo stand fights, and maybe that's why I appreciate them as much as I do. The chapters that these abilities are first displayed in are amongst some of my favorite in the entire series, and I can't wait to see them animated in the future. While we're on the topic of abilities, something about JJK that leaves me on my toes is how the idea of having a fixed power scaling is near impossible. Any, and I mean any character is eligible for an extreme power pop-off. Natural sorcerer or not, anyone can just show up and take names. I mentioned Toji earlier. Like how he's just kind of a normal ass dude with extraordinary physical power and incredible usage of tactics. Toji is so cracked that just his presence has people concerned. I remember being so excited at the idea of a character like Toji existing because it just means that we'll see the series' expectations of like Sukuna or Gojo being the strongest continually shattered, and that not even the strongest of plot armors could save someone in the end. Now for people that are caught up, I'm sure you're like, whoa, what about Okotsu? And don't worry, I love Okotsu too. I just checked out JJK Zero the other night and I found a bigger appreciation of the character. Rika is such a cool curse and the tragic backstory is amongst the darkest in the series. Bound by love and weighed with immense grief, it's a hell of a combo, and I can't wait to see what Okotsu has in store for the future of JJK. Now, I talked a lot about Jujutsu Kaisen, but I left out one important thing: Yuji Itadori. Now, I want to make this very clear. It's not that I dislike Itadori or anything. Hell, I actually really enjoy his journey as a protag quite a lot. It's just that the world of Jujutsu Kaisen is filled with so many vibrant standout characters who are fleshed out excellently that sometimes he feels small in the grand scheme of things. And I know that there's like a lot of little plot things that we've had built up in the background that are going to become very important with him as we get closer to the end of the series, but for right now, it's just like, we're just waiting for his legacy to finally unfold and see him pop off, and I know he's gonna have his big moment, and I'm very excited for it. At the end of the day, I am incredibly thankful that I gave Jujutsu Kaisen a second chance, and I would recommend it to just about anyone. I can't wait to read each new chapter as the story continues, even if it might not be for too much longer. If there is any series you think I should check out, let me know in the comments down below. I'm looking for more things to read, not even just for video making purposes. Please remember to like the video, and if you're new, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more anime and manga related content. As always, I'd like to take a moment to thank my channel members. My content would not be possible without your continued support. This video shout out goes to Roxy Reyes. Dude, you've been a member for 23 months. That's crazy. Thank you so much. If you'd like to possibly get a shout out or even just support the channel, make sure to check out the join button down below. Until next time, thanks for watching.